So our relationship, which has always been amazing, had a few external sort of factors which were becoming issues. And I think the general life stresses and strains of we've got a blended family that have all been together for a very long time. Money worries, just the general things were starting to come to a head, and we'd forgotten how to communicate. And I think, like you say, those 4 toxic behaviours crept in insidiously, and very quickly you start to ask yourself, is this relationship all right? Is it where I want to be? And I think we were both at that point when I came to you. We'd actually been for a session with Relate, which just was horrific, and so time-bound and blamey. That we both came away, we'd actually gone there separately. We actually both came away, we're like, oh my God, that's horrific. Let's not do that. And then I suddenly thought, actually, I know somebody who does that sort of stuff. Let's reach out to Kathy because, for the money we paid, actually, let's just do it because it's cheaper than a divorce, which is kind of where we were. Whilst it wasn't that we didn't love each other, we just had reached this kind of head-butting, like 2 tortoises batting heads, and just didn't know how to stop doing that.
We went through all of the 12 essential relationship skills that I teach, and it's it almost flips the kind of counselling model on its head, because instead of starting by talking about, well, what are the problems, and getting into that kind of blamey state, we always start with, well, what do you really want, and what's your friendship like, and how can we make this really work?
My husband's a man of few words. I'm the gobby one, but we both feel, and even after the first session, we could start to feel ourselves meshing back together. It was really welcoming to not have to sit and say, well, he did that and I did this, and have the finger pointing. We didn't need to do that. What we did was start to build on those solid foundations of actually, well, what are our common threads, our common values? What do we love about each other? How are we going to communicate this? For us, the most powerful thing was the love chests. What is it that makes each one of us? How do we communicate in our languages? Because we are very, very different. And knowing that we're different and that's okay has allowed us to make exceptions. So there's no longer this miscommunication that then leads to resentment and then becomes criticism.
So what would you say to someone who was a little bit on the fence, maybe considering working with me?
I think that you have to, if you're somebody who doesn't want to get divorced, and you haven't got anything to lose with this, because I wasn't sceptical. Charlie was a bit sceptical, I have to say, but I wasn't sceptical because I trust Kathy implicitly. And actually, but I didn't really know what you did. So I think that people just have to kind of go in with open eyes and be prepared that it will rock their world, that it's not all about dredging up the past and pointy finger blame. What it is positive and beautiful and empowering and all sorts of marvellous other words. But until you try it, you don't know. And that if your other half is sceptical, just ask them to trust you. I ask them just to say, this is such a short period in your time. It's less than a working day, that it's well worth that investment.